Hello everybody, Daz is here. Today's video will be about new EK water blocks reservoir called X4. Here's a story about it. I ordered this item pretty much automatically, just put it in a cart. I thought, figure out that they make new reservoir and it's always popular unit, so just add it in and without even thinking or reading what is this about. And to be honest with you, what I expected to get a new version of this, this is X3 250. So that I expected what I get with some new tweaks and some items that they would like to improve. But instead, I got box like this. Check it out. So you can see my confusion now. So I said, what the hell in the world going on? Is EK going crazy on over parking? And I pull box out and it's also like really heavy. So it was, man, I'm going to open this damn thing and just to look, because this is really like out of this world. Anyways, so I decided to open the box, and I'm not going to open this one because I opened another. So the first most puzzling part I pull out was obviously the reservoir itself, extremely heavy, and while it's the same 250 millimeters tall, you can see the diameter is humongous and it's 80 millimeters. Also, the thing is made out of glass instead of plastic. Doesn't sound too much, but anyways, believe me, this is glass and it's really heavy. So this huge reservoir takes almost 1 liter of liquid, so if you're going to use it, prepare to double amount of liquid in your system, and obviously double cost for that as well. So if you're going to use something like Ice Dragon, will cost you. And going further, another piece that was found in a box was a bag with 2 pieces of look like 16 millimeter OD acrylic tubes. So those 2, it's a little bit scratched, but I guess it doesn't really matter. We have a relatively big box of accessories, tons of plugs, and small flexible LED. Looks like white, single color, because I see only 2 wires coming in, so it's not RBG. And it's powered with SATA connector, cable sleeve, and quality of the sleeve is decent. So we have that. And we got yet another puzzling part, which was this thing. So I said, okay, it looks like pedestal of sorts, and I guess you put it in the bottom in a case and put a reservoir into it, something like that. And all of that is still keep me confused. I usually have very good idea what is what, but this thing was a little bit puzzling. So for the first time for a long period of time, I decided to open manual and look what is hell is what. And it helped. So now I can tell you what this thing is about. So this is new massive reservoir, total overkill. Overkill lovers will be ecstatic about it because it has overkill in any dimension you can imagine. Doesn't mean it's for everybody, but nevertheless. Alright, so we have this thing, first of all, massive diameter glass. So it will be less affected by any type of dyes or liquids. Garbage will supposedly stick less to the glass than to acrylic tube. Hard to scratch it, should not crack. Not always happen, but sometimes happen. And it holds quite a bit of liquid. By the documentation said 0.8 liters, which is usually most system actually use about that. So basically, that I already mentioned it, we'll have to double amount of liquid in your system if you use that. A lot of people use 2 reservoirs those days, so what will be triple amount of liquid in your reservoir? And good luck to move that system to your LAN party. Back pain guarantee. Next thing, that reminds me a little bit of the type of bracket we can see here that using XSPC photon, but it's made much better way. I like that they just use a thick piece of wire with those 2 parts that are used for mounting reservoir into the case. It's very unintrusive, and for that I definitely can say that EK got this part right. I really like that the mounting, it don't really very well visible. so top and bottom, let's check that. This thing has humongous amount of ports. It's total overkill. You can basically connect you from any directions you want. So looking at the bottom, first of all, I thought it's 4 ports because it was like 1, 2, 3, 4. So okay, nice. And after that, I fiddled with the reservoir a little bit. I actually found that they have even 5th reservoir port on the back. So 5 freaking ports on the bottom. This is, I don't think there's any other model like that. I think 4 we had, but 5 I'm not sure. So now we can have ports coming from here in a more or less traditional way for EK. We have 2 ports together on the side and 2 ports on the bottom. But now we have 1 extra totally on opposite direction. That's actually a pretty clever idea. Why? Because you not always want to run tube across entire case and show how it's coming to reservoir. For anybody who wants to do discrete type of build and want to hide tubing, you can run, let's say, black tube on behind, connected in the back, and you won't be visible if that's what you desire. Another scenario why you want this port, also if you want to do a drain point, that will be also a good idea, because you have your drain point from the behind, you relatively use that piece of tube only when you do maintenance and don't want it visible much. So this thing is a really good idea, I think. So that's 5 ports here. On the top we have 3 ports. 2 of them quarter G standard ports. One thing that I didn't think I will ever see again, but this is 3/8 quarter. So the bigger thing, I guess, I don't think it was really necessary, but I think EK wanted to give a bigger hole for filling reservoir. That was the idea. I don't think they should do it. I'm pretty sure most of people were pretty happy just have a 4th quarter G port, but now we have 1 big port, and means you need a special fitting for it and stuff like this. I'm not sure if they actually provide a stop plug for that in that big size. Yes, they do. Well, at least you don't need to run by fitting for that. So this is good news. So you have enough stop plugs to cover every hole. Moving further, about reservoir itself, we have anti-cyclone thing with a massive EK logo. This part I always hate. I don't really like the logos is way too prominent. I think it's like logo hoarding things that going on in the market, but it's here, traditional 4K, so I think that if you don't like it, it's not big harm to remove it. And actually with those additional tubes that I showed you earlier, you actually solve this problem pretty easily to reduce amount of vortex in your system, because that's the purpose of this piece of plastic with the K logo. It doesn't allow liquid spin too much inside of the reservoir because it breaks the flow, right? So another thing that I'd like to show you, you saw that, where is this? Yeah, this LED thingy. So where it goes? It actually goes around this ring on the bottom of the reservoir. So you lift it up, you put LED around the reservoir and cover it with this ring thing, and this will glow. To be honest with you, I'm not quite sure how well it will work, because we have lights around entire reservoir, which is good, but the thing is, LED is very directional lights, like a flashlight, right? So we have all lights coming here in 90-degree perpendicular towards the reservoir, so we have very lit surrounding about the K logo, which they absolutely love, of course, but the rest of the reservoir, I don't think it will be lit very well. So in this sense, I would say that maybe put some sort of acrylic plugs with LEDs on bottom, so on the top, might give you better result in terms of glowing liquid inside of the reservoir. But if you want just highlight this monumental EK logo thing, obviously this LED will do perfect job. But we'll see. Sooner or later people will install this in their system, put LEDs in, probably some pictures pop up, and we'll figure out how actual lighting system work. I'm pretty sure EK tested it, so it shouldn't be really bad. Otherwise they wouldn't do this. Alright, so that's talking about reservoir. Last piece that I would like to mention. Where is it? Yeah, those two pieces of tubes that we have. What they for? I'm not going to disassemble reservoir for you right now, but basically on those acrylic cups there's the exact holes of diameter of those tubes. So what you can do, you can put one, let's say connect one of the ports on the top of the reservoir, have it here, and another tube you connect to one of the those two ports on the bottom. So what we have? Well, basically we have separation of the flow. So we can get in one direction, get out other direction, and so it will help with separation of the bubbles because you have inlet, outlet in different directions. Sorry, not direction, in different sections, parts of reservoir, and also it will break your vortex problem because usually when you have nothing in cylindrical reservoir, sometimes the setup is such that liquid spinning too much. It's not big deal when your system is bled completely, but it's big deal in the beginning because all those bubbles, they don't have enough power to bubble up, and they by this vortex they keep recycling through a system, which is getting bleeding process very annoying. So all right, and now finally this. I couldn't, for the love of God, I can't figure out what it does. I figured out that it is some sort of pedestal thingy, but it turns to be, it's not only pedestal, but actually you suppose by the idea of the AK, you're supposed to mount it on top of the fan. I never like this kind of setup because usually fan is a device that brings dust and garbage in your system, you like it or not. So basically what will happen if you mount a reservoir on top of say radiator, you have air with some dust inevitably coming through, will blow around your res, it will get dusty faster than any other part of your PC, and that's actually usually a show piece, right? So you want it as clean as possible. So I'm not very hot about this idea, but keep in mind this is such a big piece of equipment, it's possible that it's just no other place to put it. And then putting on top of radiator saves the day, right? So not everybody running huge, humongous cases that can host anything, right? So you might have something like this, a small one. So okay, where I put it? Not much space at all. And so putting it on the bottom of your radiator with fan will solve the problem. Well, that's pretty much it. It's a very interesting piece. I haven't been excited for a while. It doesn't mean I will use it, but I think finally I saw something that's somewhat different from other stuff, because people are releasing the same recycling, same ideas, but this one is something fresh. It's crazy and not for everybody, but it's somewhat new, so that part I like. Alright guys, that's it. Just wanted to share with you this interesting product. Got it today, reviewed it today. If I'm interested, I do it without delay. Alright guys, thanks a lot. I see you soon with more stuff coming on soon.